So we just finished up the build on this Everest. This is the Next-Gen Everest. It was a pretty nice build. And yeah, the Everest look pretty good, they drive good. So yeah, it was definitely a good build. So let's jump into it and check out what we've done. So starting at the front, so yeah, the bull bar was already fitted previously, same as the actual winch and all the lights, but the customer didn't want them to wire, they wanted us to wire it all, so it all came to us fitted and we just had to wire it all. So starting with the Romva winch, so that's just got an isolator just up in here, just on a little bracket that we're fabricated. And then we've also wired into the actual dash, the in and out in the actual dash as well. So you don't have to use the remote control if you don't want to. As soon as you turn that isolator on, you can control it from inside the dash. So that's a pretty nice feature. Just makes it a little bit easier if you wanted to use that instead of using the actual remote itself. And with all these lights, so they're just wired into the outside ones are wired to the indicator, and then also the fog light circuit. And then the other ones are just wired with the light bar as well. So they'll come on together off the high beam, and then if the switch in the dash is on. And then all these lights have RGB lights in them. So they're all controlled via an app. So what we did is we just wired them straight to ignition. So as soon as you turn the key on, all those RGB lights will come on. And then if you wanted to turn them off, then you can just turn it off via the app. Want to change any of the colors, you do it all via the app as well. So instead of putting a switch in the dash, it's basically just another DRL really. That will just wire straight to ignition, so that can always be on. But yeah, if you want them off, just use it through the app, and then that controls that. And yeah, that's pretty cool. They've all just got little lights just on the outside of them. They look pretty nice. Pretty much just a DRL, but it's just customizable. Then jumping up into the engine bay, so just over here on the driver's side, we've got the twin ARB compressor. So that's just the brushless, and then it's just got a little switch in here, which is the ARB switch. And then we've also just fabricated down below here a little bracket for the outlet. One thing we did with the switch itself is we wired the illumination to it because it's got two illuminations, one for when it's on and one for just a park light feed. So we've actually wired the park light feed into the park lights. So as soon as the park lights are on, you'll have illumination on this switch here. So this is a nice little feature. If you're ever airing up at night and you're trying to find, oh, where's the actual switch because it's all dark in here, you just leave the key on, which you want to be doing anyway when you're running the compressor because it's wired straight off the start battery. So the key will be on, your headlights will be on, you'll be able to just see the little LED there is lit up, so you know straight away where my switch is. You can hit that, and then you can go straight into your little outlet here, and then use your compressor. And then over here on the passenger side, we just made another little bracket. So this just houses the winch isolator. So we just flush mounted that instead of having the box sit on top of the bracket. Just looks a little bit ugly, and then you can see all the cables coming from each side. We decided just to flush mount it, so it's actually mounted from underneath the bracket. And then that way it just hides all the cabling, just gets it a little bit lower as well, and just makes it look super sleek and nice. And then on that same bracket, we've got all our fusing. So we've got 6 MIDI fuses here. So we've got 2 for the compressor, and then we got 1 for the DC-DC, then we got another one for your driving lights, and then there's a future roof light bar that he's considering putting on in the future, so that's also there as well. And then we just off the bottom of the bracket as well, we'll just put a couple relays for just the light bar in the bull bar here, and then for the future one up there as well. So that's pretty much everything under the bonnet here. So yeah, jumping around to the passenger side, so we've just got the Bush Company 270 awning. This one's the max, so it folds front and rear, so you get quite a lot of coverage on it. And being the Bush Company, there's only a couple that are actually proper freestanding. It's really just the Bush Company and the Destination 4-wheel drive. The rest of them say they're freestanding, but they all come with poles, so you're not really freestanding if you come with poles, in my personal opinion. So that's why I believe it's either this one or the Destination are kind of the best 2 options to go for. And yeah, the customers just opted for the Bush Company, made in South Africa. So high quality, really good canvas, and yeah, they're super strong. Usually you'll find they'll break the brackets either on the vehicle or if it's mounted to a rooftop tent before the actual hardware inside the awning itself actually fails due to wind. So yeah, they're pretty good awnings, and that's why we always opt for either a Bush Company or a Destination 4-wheel drive. Yeah, so we're just going ahead and put all our strip lights on a few of the arms under here. So these are the 900mm strip lights. So there's one here, one on the arm over there, and we've got one here and then one back there as well. So they're all just wired together. So we've also wired them to the actual TVMS just on a little cable here. They can just plug straight into a SIG socket, and then you can just turn the switch on and they'll all come on together. But obviously each one has then an individual switch, so if you obviously want to turn them off individually, you can. Or if you want to swap some to amber, have the dual color, you can do that as well. But the power to actually turn them all on and off are all wired together. So then that way you can just hit that one switch to turn them all on and off. And then obviously you can do it individually as well if you wanted to. So typically when we wire these, we usually wire it through the actual vehicle and then down into the actual power system. But the customer just asked if we could just wire it just off these little SIG sockets and then activate the actual SIG socket via the TVMS, just because they're planning on taking these on and off as they actually need them. When they're fitted to the vehicle, they can't actually go inside their garage at home, so they're just going to take the awnings off whenever they're not using them, so they can still park inside. Hence why, yeah, we haven't hardwired anything. We're just going ahead and just put them straight into there, and that's just the nicest way we can do it. So the other thing we've done as well is just drilled holes in each of these actual arms as well, just to run the cables through. Instead of having the cables like cable tied up or velcroed up and then down into there, we'll just run them through the actual arms. Ideally, you wanted to try to get them all through the backside, so you couldn't see the cables come out down here. Unfortunately, you can't actually get through them because they're a solid piece of metal. So we've just gone ahead and just put them as far back as we could, but obviously not fouling on any of this actual mechanism here. Just to be able to hide the cabling as best as possible. It is a challenge sometimes, but yeah, it's kind of the best we could do, and obviously it looks pretty good like that. And yeah, I think, yeah, it came out pretty nice. Same again on the other side with the shower awning as well. So we just made a little bracket up in there to be able to mount just a 600 strip light, and then that way they can do the same thing. They can turn it on and off via the TVMS, and then if they wanted to control it on the switch as well, they can do that as well. And then same thing, we just made a little lead, and we just made this one a little bit longer, just so it could actually go underneath the vehicle and tuck it out the way, instead of just going straight hard from there to there, and then it kind of gets in the way of all of this. We just gave it a little bit of extra length, just so you can kind of tuck it down underneath the vehicle, so you're not having to trip over it. Just makes it a little bit nicer. Then most of the work was done here in the back. So this has a full underfloor kit. So the drawers were done by JSE, and then we've gone ahead and done the full fit out. So underneath the actual false floor is a 230 amp custom lithium battery. That one's actually the breast cancer awareness one. So proceeds of that actually goes to the Breast Cancer Awareness Foundation. So that's a nice little touch that Custom Lithium always do. I think they do about 10 or so most years. So yeah, it was nice to put that on there. It's just a bit of a shame that it's tucked in actually underneath the false floor where you can't see it. Then we've also got the TVMS rogue under there. Got the Alpha 100R BCDC. Then we've also got the shunt to go with it. And then it's also got just our fusing just behind the seat, so we can show you in a little bit as well. And then just inside this little wing here is where we've just gone ahead and put the RS3 red eye converter. So it's just tucked away in there, and then we just wired it straight to a 10 20 amp GPO there, and then it's switched via the TVMS as well. So you can just turn it on and off as needed there, straight on the screen. And then the other one we've got is just a little water pump underneath as well, switched via the TVMS. And then that's just got a little tank Bulwab 50 litre behind the rear seats there. Then we've just got a few sockets here. So these two bottom ones, as spoke about before, they're just switched via the TVMS. Left is obviously for the left side, right is for the right. And then you've just got all your outlets here. So we've got one SIG socket, two 45 watt USB-C and A's, and then 100 watt USB-C and A, so you can run Starlink if they wanted to, or charge a laptop, or just get faster charging for your actual phone itself. And then below that is just a Anderson plug as well. And then we've got our water outlet right at the bottom down here next to our twin 10 amp GPO. And then we've got a little 30 litre Engel drawer fridge as well. That's just wired directly to the battery system. And then obviously if you want to switch it on and off, you've got a little control in there. You can turn it on and off. Otherwise it'll always just be running. And with the 230 amp our battery, it will run pretty much all the time. They shouldn't really have too many issues with it because it won't draw that much power. It's only going to draw about 4 or so amps. So they'll easily be able to last a long time off grid if there's running that and a few lights. And then just located down on the tow bar is just the solar Anderson inputs. That's just wired to the BCDC Alpha 100. So if they ever want to plug a blanket in, they can just plug straight into there, and then it'll just come up straight here on the TVMS. They'll be able to see on the display, and they'll be able to see how much power is coming in from there. Yeah, so jumping into the back here, so we've got all our fuses just on a little bracket. So we just put a little bracket underneath here just to try to push the fusing back, and it still obviously makes it accessible. We don't want to put that stuff underneath the false floor. Then if you ever got a blown fuse, you want to ever check anything, got to pull everything out just to be able to check your fuses. And we've done the same thing when it comes to the BCDC and the shunt. We'll just mount them as far this way as possible. So that way, if you ever have any dramas with wanting to check what your BCDC is doing, or ever wanting to add anything extra in the future and get to the shunt, we tried to make it accessible as possible, where you can just reach down in underneath there, instead of mounting it at the very back, and then all of a sudden, the whole interior's got to come back out just to ever check anything. So we tried to mount as much stuff far forward as possible, just to make it nice and easy for that. And then we'll just flush mounted the actual Egan DC hubs. This is the Nano. They don't have too many drawers on the actual vehicle, not too many loads, so we only needed the Nano for this one. So we just flush mounted it, just so it could get recessed a little bit back, and then you couldn't see any of the cables coming from left and right, because obviously if we set it up a bit proud, same as what this one was, you'd see all your cables coming in. Just doesn't look as nice. So we just went ahead and flush mounted that just to make it a little bit better. And then obviously we couldn't flush mount the mega fuse holder. Unfortunately, it's not an option. So we just tried to hide our cable as much as possible and just bring them straight in underneath, and then tuck them up out the way straight away. So fused in the mega fuse box is just the inverter. We also got the DC hub for just the Nano, and then we've also got our DC-DC. So because it's 100 amp BC-DC, we could have wired it through the Nano, but it was just easier really, because we just would have had to split them off. So it was just easier really just to put a quad mega in, just fuse it straight to there, didn't need to go through the Nano. And then obviously if they ever wanted to use some of those outputs, they can do so in the future as well. So that's why we've wired it that way instead of going through the normal way where we do it through the DC hub. Then over here, we just put a little Victron charger here, so they're just going for a 25 amp AC charger that they don't want mounted on the actual vehicle. They just want a little quick connector there that they can easily plug into, and then it's just wired to the lithium battery there as well. So if they ever wanted to charge it up at home when they're parked up for long periods, they can just go ahead and plug their charger straight into that port instead of trying to connect it with alligator clips or whatever. Just makes it a little bit easier. Then that's the Bolab tank. So that's the 50 litre tank that we spoke about before. So we've got an outlet here, goes straight to the pump underneath, and then just goes all the way over to the Nitto fitting at the back there. Switch via the TVMS, and they've also put a little water sender in here as well. So that's just a 300mm water sender, 0 to 190 ohms, and then we'll just program the TVMS to be able to read that, and then just makes it easier when you're trying to monitor whether this is getting full, whether you're getting drained down, so you know exactly where your water level's at. Then just jumping in at the front, we just got the switch panel we've chucked in. So it's got all these switches for your light bar, your winch, and then there's a blank there as well for when they add the future roof light bar on. And then there's also, that's where the UHF pass-through is as well. So it's got the GME XRS tucked in underneath the dash, and it's got that little pass-through connector there as well. So it just makes it easy to be able to tuck everything away. You haven't got to worry about the actual unit getting in the way, and then it just makes it nice and easy to be able to disconnect it if you ever wanted to, and then you can put the handpiece away in the glove box. Yeah, so that's everything on this Everest. Yeah, it was a pretty good build. Got a lot of stuff packed into it, and they'll obviously now be able to go off grid if they want to, go down the beach. They can do whatever they need to now in it. It's got all the power they need. Obviously already got the lift and all the tires on it, got the front protection, got all their lights and the winch. So this thing's definitely ready to go now. Looks pretty good. I definitely do like the look of the Fords, like the Next-Gen Ranger and the Everest. They definitely do look good. Yeah, so if you're interested in something similar, get in contact with us and we'll catch you in the next one.